Hi everyone, today is October 17th, 2022, and we're at 2 Samuel chapter 18. In this chapter, David's servants fight against the men of Israel, and as David sent out his troops, he made a special request. He asked that they deal gently with Absalom and basically keep him alive for David's sake. In the battle, however, Absalom's head gets stuck on an oak tree because of his mule, and while one of the servants who saw him chooses to do no harm, Joab decides to kill Absalom. This news reaches the king's ears, and David's reaction is shown in verse 33. It says, "And the king was deeply moved, and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, he said, 'O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would I had died instead of you, O Absalom, my son, my son.'" So based off that verse, we can clearly see that David is genuinely heartbroken and he's mourning over the death of his son. But if we view this entire thing from the perspective of Joab, he simply did the right thing by getting rid of a threat. Now, a lot of people may side with Joab and ask and wonder why David is actually mourning over such a horrible person, because as we know, Absalom had his fair share of wrongdoings. Sure, Absalom was not the best person to ever live, but the reason why David was able to love him and genuinely again mourn for him was because he had the love of God within him. David was of course aware of all of Absalom's actions, but above that, he knew that they were exactly the same sinners saved by the exact same grace. So this week, I hope and pray that you and I can do the same. There will be situations where all we can see is a person's flaws, but let's choose to love beyond that because God loved first. Well, that's it for today's journey. I thank you all so much for joining, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with the next chapter. Bye!